Good morning, brethren. Welcome to our daily devotional. This morning I want us to turn to the book of Isaiah. Isaiah chapter 54, and we're going to read together verses 2 and 3. Isaiah 54 verses 2 and 3. Enlarge the place of your tent. Let the curtains of your habitations be stretched out. Do not hold back. Lengthen your cords. Strengthen your stakes, for you will spread abroad to the right and to the left, and your offspring will possess the nations and will people the desolate cities. This is a passage that was very dear to the heart of the man we want to think about today. This man here, William Carey. Carey is known as the father of modern missions. He was born in 1761 on the 17th of August. He was raised in a home where the family attended the local parish church, and he was very gifted. In fact, at a very young age, he taught himself Latin. When he was 14, he went to work as an apprentice cobbler, and there he met another apprentice by the name of John Watt. John Watt was a dissenter. The word dissenter was a reference to all those who did not attend the local Church of England parish church. So in other words, Baptists, Congregationists, and those who were Presbyterians. As a result of Watt's influence, Carey left the Church of England and became a Congregationalist. While he was apprenticing, he taught himself Greek, so that's Latin and Greek that he now was able to use. In 1781, he married Dorothy Plackett, and they had 7 children, 5 boys and 2 girls. The 2 girls sadly died in infancy, and one of his boys died aged 5. Whenever the man who owned the shoe business, to whom he was working as an apprentice, whenever that man died, Carey took over the shoe business. And while he mended shoes, he taught himself, listen to this, Hebrew, Italian, Dutch, and French. So he was definitely a very gifted linguist. On the 5th of October 1783, he was baptised and became a Baptist. 1785, he was appointed a schoolmaster in the village of Moulton, and he also part-time pastored the local Baptist church. He loved reading, and he was very influenced by reading the life of David Brainerd, the life of John Eliot, and the life of the explorer James Cook. In 1789, 4 years after he was appointed schoolmaster, he was appointed full-time pastor of Harvey Lane Baptist Church in Leicester. A couple of years later, 1792, he published a pamphlet entitled An Inquiry into the Obligations of Christians to Use Means for the Conversion of the Heathens. They didn't believe in short titles in those days. It was a considerable booklet in which he argued that the Baptist denomination had a moral responsibility before God, according to the teaching of Scripture, to establish a missionary society. He preached on Isaiah 54 verses 2 to 3, which we read earlier, and in that sermon many times he kept emphasizing this: expect great things from God, attempt great things for God. When his booklet was being discussed among Baptist pastors, one pastor got up and said, if God is going to convert the heathen, he doesn't need us to help him. He can do it himself. Thankfully, eventually, the Baptist churches established the Baptist Missionary Society, or what was later to become known as the Baptist Missionary Society. It was first established in 1792, and being missionary minded, Carey himself set off for India in 1793. Being, as we have seen, a great linguist, he translated the New Testament into Bengali. He then translated it into Sanskrit, and during his time in India, part of the Bible, or all of the New Testament, was translated into 44 different Indian dialects. He had the joy of seeing a number of Hindu people converted. He also established a training facility for local believers to be trained as evangelists and pastors. And in the 41 years that he spent in India, he saw 700 people converted. That might sound a lot, but whenever you consider that India has millions and millions of people in its population, you realise it was only a small number, but it was a beginning. He became known as the father of modern missions because Carey really laid the foundation for what others would later build on, and missionary work would begin. Today, around the world, there are many, many missionary societies. There are many churches that have mission works in a multitude of different places in the world. And it all comes back to William Carey. He died in 1834. What's his legacy to us, or what's his message to us? His message to us is that as believers, we should be interested in and supportive of missionary work. We are to take the gospel to the people around us in our own communities. Of course, that's what the local church is called to do, but we are also to take the gospel to all nations. We are to be involved in and supportive of whatever missionary activity our particular denomination is involved in. And if our denomination is not involved in missionary work, we should encourage it to become involved in missionary work. And we ourselves should be supportive of, prayerfully and financially, whatever missionary work God leads us to support. So let me ask you before we finish this morning, are you missionary minded? Do you support your missionaries? Do you give to the work of missions? Do you pray regularly for your missionaries? Carey was right when he said, expect great things from God. Attempt great things for God. And God will indeed bless the labours of our hands. May God bless you today.